Get this on the Triple M network.
It's our fully stacked set of hosts. Myself, Tony Martin. Oh. What about Ed Cavalier? Up top. Pushing the buttons, Richard Marsland.
Look at a side boob from where I sit. Ooh, some under boob. Top boob now.
He's flopped up here.
Yeah, more than a handful.
Certainly second to last show, and finally it's starting to pay off. The free stuff is pouring in.
Cha-ching.
Wow, I've never seen so many fruit baskets, all from members of our audience.
It's lovely, isn't it?
I've got so many DVDs.
What'd you get?
Oh, a lot of stuff that's possibly illegal, so I shouldn't mention it maybe on here. But look at this fabulous hat. This is a hat with Get This 2007 on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in a comedy script?
Yeah, who made that? Richard Marsland's mum.
Oh,
I thought you were going to play some horns then, Richard, and I was being prepared to be disturbed.
We're just declaring all our free stuff.
No,
okay.
That's good. That's very nice. She's made hats. Should she make one for you, Rich?
I didn't get one.
No, you did.
No, I didn't. There's only
the
two
hat.
of them.
There's 3 hats.
There's 2 hats. You've got one. Tone's got one. And I'm left wearing this Hessian sack on my head.
So nice of Mum.
It's full of rats.
You've just been signed up for 2 years, actually, Mum. After a performance on the show. Get This 2007 there. And what particular font has she gone with, Tone?
Oh, look, that's Comedy Sans or something like that. It's got that sort of Barney Miller opening credits feel about it to me.
And get this in inverted commas as well. And she just, quick message, hey guys, and my beloved son, bought you some hats, had them made actually, thought you could wear them when you have a few drinks on Friday. Then they'll know where to send you when you get too tiddly. Speaking of tiddly, what was she on when she wrote this?
Yeah.
I can't even read
Don't
that.
need that sort of language on this program. Did you say tiddly?
A filthmonger.
Thank you, Mum.
All right, I know a lot of people are going to be getting tiddly tomorrow, but...
Has your mum sent anything, Tone?
Nothing.
No writs? No subpoenas?
Normally the subpoenas arrive in one sort of satchel at the end of the week.
All wrapped up for Christmas.
Yeah, don't send them to me every couple of days. Wait till you've got about 4 of them.
It saves money on envelopes.
Send a bundle.
That's nice.
How it works in your family?
Oh, pretty much. Christmas time. See, we do Kris Kringle at my family because there's so many of us.
Yeah.
So you only have to subpoena one member of the
that's
family
fantastic.
each year.
I love getting a Christmas card that simply says, see you in court on the front. Now, I mentioned Dukes of Hazzard. What did you get?
Nikki, who did we get these from? I think this was in a basket of fruit or something.
This is Paul Gallo.
Paul Gallo.
This is the man that sent me the Milky Bar crackles,
He's
which my
great.
flatmates have enjoyed.
No, I got a beautiful letter from Paul, and amongst thousands, I should point out.
Thank you, Paul. I like my Gallows Vincent. But the Dukes of Hazzard playing cards. Look at these.
Wow, but that's a full set.
This is a full set. I'm trying to work out the game. I'm assuming it's some sort of derivative.
Okay, so who we got?
You've got your Daisy, take 2 for a parking ticket from Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Of course.
Boss Hog, Roscoe, Cooter, Daisy, we've done that. Bo, Luke, obviously. Boss Hog. There's Roblox. The Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
The Uncle Jesse
Oh,
card.
right, so it's not 52 different characters. They haven't had to go beyond Enos to try and pad the numbers out.
Flash gets his own card.
Flash got a card.
I rest my case.
But these are like some sort of weird, sick... You know that scene in Apocalypse Now where Robert Duvall hands out the death cards on the dead bodies?
Yeah. You planning on doing that to us?
Okay, give him a shuffle. Just give him a shuffle, and then we'll have one each, and we'll see. We'll read the Dukes of Hazzard Tarot.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. No, don't worry about...
I can't shuffle.
Don't shuffle quick or anything, Rich.
I'm trying to. I don't know how...
Got all the time in the world.
Okay, I'll look first. I've just been handed Luke. There you go, Luke. Tom Wopat. You see, it would be bad if it was the bloke who filled in for him in that weird series where the cousins are on board. You wouldn't want to get that card. That's like the death card.
What'd you get?
I got a parking ticket.
Oh, what does that mean?
From
Coltrane.
I'm not sure who that is, to be honest.
Well,
to be perfectly honest with you, it looks like Richard in drag, but then he's in drag, but he's tried to make himself then look like a man again.
Can I have a look at that?
And put some glasses on himself.
It's meant to be Roscoe P. It doesn't look like James Best at all.
No.
Obviously, he wouldn't sell his rights to his own
his
face.
image. And you, Rich, who'd you get? Daisy, yeah?
I was just going to say, once again, back to the Nissan Navara, which actually repels parking tickets.
Oh, does it?
I got Boss Hog.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
So what does that mean for all of us?
I think that means we all have to dress as the characters that we've drawn on tomorrow's program.
Well, the Boss Hog outfit is a little trickier than Luke.
Yep, that's what I meant. The 3-piece white suit.
Yeah, you better get cracking, son.
Oh, and you've got to do a lot of blustering. Every episode of the Dukes of Hazzard seemed to end with like a car crash in the middle of a forest, and then the doors blow open and a whole lot of money just blows everywhere, and then a really avaricious, graspy Boss Hog sort of squeezes out of a car going, "That's my money! That's my money!" Damn Dukes.
Fair enough.
Why is a guy in the country wearing a white suit? So easily stained.
It's plantation wear.
Okay, we'll
Can't
find
be
out.
caught dead in the plantation without a white suit.
Now, normally what would happen during this conversation is somebody would put the hand up and say, oh, look, I think enough maybe about the Dukes of Hazzard. A round of applause for our producer, Nikki Hamilton.
yeah. Hi,
She's
Nikki
here.
Hamilton.
How are you, Nikki?
Hello, good, thanks.
Have you had any kids today?
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
but each day I've been thinking, just got to get to Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I'm trying not to be insulting in the way I say this, but often I'll go out of the room to make a cup of tea, I'll come back, and Nikki's even bigger.
Yeah,
Bigger.
she's expanding.
Bigger and better.
And I saw you with a Slurpee today and dunking a sausage roll in it. What a life. Pregnancy, what a life.
It's the last few days of good eating.
Okay.
When's it time to drop, Nikki?
When's it time to drop?
Yeah.
Look at you,
Seriously?
Tony.
I am a medical professional.
Any day in the next week or two.
Really?
How's it so, like you and the husband obviously didn't time this for the end of this season?
No,
That's
just
incredible.
Are you
I
hoping
know.
for an octopus kid like that one?
Well, I don't think it's...
Expression suggests no.
no, just
A tree
the
man.
2 arms, 2 legs will be good.
Now,
Good.
Nikki Hamilton has been producing this show for 2 years, and before that, a lot of excellent work for our friends at Working Dog, working on the panel, etc. But did not I meet you years ago at Triple M
Yes.
in the research department?
Yep, I was part of Reaction Radio Research.
What did you do?
Calling up, people out of the phone book
Yeah.
and playing some music to them and asking them about their radio listening habits.
What, you play
This was like 17 years ago.
You play the whole song.
Oh, no, snippets. 20 snippets.
20 snippets of how long?
And what kind of reaction would you get from those people?
Because they had to like it, dislike it, and they're just going, yeah, next.
Yeah, that's right.
Get to the Toto. Get to the Toto.
Yeah, so do we have
Stop.
to play?
Play the whole of that.
And sometimes you wouldn't get through the whole tape, as you imagine.
Yeah.
You might get a bit of a hang up.
Bit of a hang up.
But
Can't
a
imagine
lot
why.
of people listening would have liked what they were hearing, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what does this tell us? Maybe the song should just run 20 seconds.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Yes.
20-second excerpts are testing through the roof. Why don't you just play them? That's what people are responding to.
People love a snippet.
Well, Nikki, thank you for all your fine work over
Oh,
the
you're
last
welcome.
2
I've
years.
loved every minute of it.
No.
Every minute of it.
Even though you've had the hardest job, because as we say on air occasionally, and it's not a joke, all the meetings take place on the program.
Yeah.
We refuse to commit to anything
That's right.
unless
No.
we're actually before a national audience.
Yeah.
To try and lock the door sometimes to get
Keep
an
this
answer out
in.
of anyone.
But hey, you're not
Thank you,
going anywhere. You're going to be here for tomorrow's big finale.
You bet.
And one of Nikki's jobs is booking our fantastic co-host. Here's one now. We've been receiving wonderful emails and letters from our listeners. And this one I was referring to earlier from Paul Gallo, who goes through the whole team. And then he says, Ross Noble, Ross, thank you for showing your support for the Get This team. I think I could live to be 100 and still not get the tune from the Bottle Boys out of my head. Here he is, Ross Noble.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be back.
Now, while you're overseas, that did catch on the Bottle
Oh,
Boys
did it?
team. Yeah, a
Brilliant.
lot of requests for that for a ringtone.
Anthony Kalia did a version, went to number 1.
Excellent.
This was the most obscure sitcom in British history.
Well,
And
the great, sorry, I was just going to say
Yeah,
the great
no.
thing about Anthony Kalia is he's the size of an actual milk bottle.
He did the whole thing.
And the milk bottles, that would have been an excellent video. If it had just been him, normal bottles, him in amongst there, just white all on his face, and then just him chinking against the other bottle. Well, I couldn't believe yesterday, I was listening yesterday, and I couldn't believe that you read out an email from a guy in Surbiton.
yes, Surbiton in Surrey.
Yeah,
Is it in England.
but I couldn't believe that you missed the fact. You know where Surbiton is?
See, I don't know anything about Surbiton. It's like Bristol. It's just a word from a comedy sketch.
No, but that's the thing you do. You know everything about
Do I?
Surbiton, but you
Because-
don't even realise. Because that is the place where they used to live in the good life.
The good life!
Good life. That's magnificent. I'll just explain to the listeners there. Just 3 men just exploded. 3 grown men.
Penelope Keith, Felicity
Yeah,
Kendall.
exactly. yeah, that's where Tom had his little
His
garden
ducks,
and everything.
yeah, ducks everywhere.
that was all set in Surbiton. And I was listening. I was going, good life's going to be mentioned. Oh,
They've missed
Well,
it.
for God, you're here to correct that oversight. So much to get to in this hour, Ross. Hey, we're doing a great segment. It's called Ask Ross Noble.
brilliant.
So we'll be-
Sounds like a Ask Greg Fleet with the name change.
Oh, look.
That's-
No, that's what would Greg Fleet do. That's a completely different idea.
Right, okay, I get you.
And we've got a present for you.
Oh, there's presents for Ross.
No, I can't believe the presents that I had for you, right?
Yeah.
They're in a shipping container, because I thought the show would run for years. So I thought, I can ship them back. No, I didn't realise it would be last minute. So I've got all three. Right, it took me so long to find. I've got you all three On the Buses films on one DVD.
On one DVD?
On one DVD.
Finally,
right
someone's common sense has prevailed.
And the one that I didn't buy in the end, but I wish I had now, which I thought would be ideal for you, Ed.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the film Poltergays?
No.
No, what's that?
Yeah, it's about. It's basically some gay ghosts. it's a French film. Some people move into a flat, and I know it sounds a bit fruity and a bit top shelf and all that. Not at all. It's a knockabout comedy where some French people move into a flat where 3 homosexual clubbers died in a fire, and then they now live in the flat, and they have to try and get on with the ghost, but obviously they're flamboyant French homosexuals, and how do you cope with that? Exactly, Poltergeist.
So, if we'd stayed on for another year, out with Short Bus, in with Poltergays.
Poltergeist.
I was worried about you because you were embarking on what to me looked like a foolhardy venture. You were doing a live show that was beaming out to cinemas.
Yeah.
30 cinemas around England.
45.
45. So people
cinemas.
all over the country were going to the movies to sit in a theatre and watch you doing stand-up live.
Yeah.
Whereas if
they just booked earlier, they could have come and seen the show live on the 45-date tour that I did up to the. It was a sort of it was great. It was the first time it's ever been done, other than Formula One and Genesis. I think Robbie Williams did it from Germany or somewhere. And so I did the gig in Liverpool at Liverpool Empire, and which is where Laurel and Hardy did their first ever live English gig. So that's
good.
Always in
I
my
think
head.
there was someone doing etchings and passing them out.
The blokes with blokes in the street, and so I did that, and then it was mad because what I did. Because I wanted to do a two-way thing so I could talk to people in the cinema.
How do you do that?
You pay out £25 million is what you do. Because it was kind of one way was ridiculously expensive, and we had and a big satellite dish and everything. Right. And so what I did was
that's like the tally room of Eurovision. That's
exactly,
what you're proposing.
Exactly. But it was very Eurovision-like in the sense that I said to this bloke in the front row, because I kept referring to the different cinemas, and I spoke to people afterwards that were in the cinemas that said they were laughing like it was a normal gig. But the only weird thing was the fact it was all shot in high definition. So you'd have people sat there, and at the start of the show, they did a real close-up of my face. So it's this cinema size. So I'm like, I move around quite a lot, sweat, and there's just this giant sweaty face. And apparently there was people in cinemas going, oh. And so what I did was I said to the guy in the front row, I said, lend us your phone, mate. Got the phone out. What's the number? And he said the number, so I repeat the number, and I said, if you're in the cinemas, give us a ring.
Right.
And I'll take your phone calls. Well, of course, this bloke's phone goes nuts. It's just because this was, it was 10,000 people, watching on the screen. So it all came, this bloke's phone is it's gone glowing white hot as his phone's, and I pick it up and I say, hello, and the guy's like, hello there's John here in Cardiff. And all you hear is, the satellite delay, Cardiff, and you hear, Cardiff.
And did that bloke have about 500 heckles in his message bank by the end of the night?
That was the great thing. One thing was, there's I could hear big laughs coming down the line from Cardiff, and I'm going, it sounds like you're having a better gig than I am. And then I got an email from the guy the next day who said that obviously people had kept it in their phone, and this bloke had just had a week of non-stop. People were ringing up, is that you? Because they didn't realise they thought it was my phone. They didn't realise this bloke was a genuine.
It was a middleman.
Yeah, as they thought, he's bound to be a plant that Ross has given his phone to. No, it was a bloke's genuine phone. So this bloke, apparently now he's still receiving phone calls.
Wow.
I was wondering, where does Ross get his shows from? It's not him. So I can't wait until we release it. We're going to probably release it on DVD at some point in the future.
Either 6 discs, 7 discs, maybe this time.
1,000 disc set. It's going to be a sort of, it'll be those 1960s sort of lamps that you used to get with all the shiny discs and stuff on.
Now, speaking of discs,
what is this?
we've got a present for you.
There we go.
There you are, Ross.
Oh, my goodness.
Sweet baby Jesus on a jet ski.
It's Love Thy Neighbour Down Under, and we were not able to find a single line that we could put to air.
Oh, I've actually gone a bit giddy. And I love the fact, for the first time ever on DVD.
I know, because there's been a lot of attempts, to get it out before this.
Thanks for that. That I can't. You know what? I'm speaking to you now, but part of me's thinking, I got to get home and watch.
I've got to get home. What region? I hope it's the correct region.
Look at that. Now, I can tell you that the story of Love Thy Neighbour, for those who don't know it, is there is a man in England who lives next door.
He's a white man who lives next door to a black man, and that causes all kinds of tension and
He
misunderstanding.
finds it very hard to deal with. What have you spotted there, Ross?
Spotted the fact that it's set in Blacktown in Sydney.
That's right. So if this one is come down under.
It's just the fact that the script writers have gone, where are we going to set it? Anywhere with the word black in the title, that'll do. Yeah, that's... outnumbered by the... Oh, of course, hang on a sec. Yeah, it turns out he's outnumbered by the Aussies, so he's got a problem with Aussies as well.
Yeah, it's not just... It's all races and creeds that aren't his copied in this one.
Wait till he meets an Asian man. He can hardly bear it. He doesn't know what to do with himself.
Yeah.
There aren't enough double takes in the
Well,
world.
he'd be confused, wouldn't he? Because he wouldn't know whether or not it was a genuine Asian man or like somebody doing the gotcha calls.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's the...
Around here, it's hard to work out who's who.
Ross, the first time he came on the show, do you remember you were busting out Rare Vinyl? Do you remember the song you were saying? You had a broken arm or something? You were in hospital? Broken
that's
there?
right.
And you were amusing yourself by listening to, great albums.
Was it Up Je T'aime?
By Frankie Howard and...
June Whitfield.
Have we got that here?
Here it is.
Hey, you never know what we'll play next here at Triple M.
This is a classic.
Je t'aime.
Okay,
Je t'aime.
see, that sounds like the original to me. Oh, hang on.
Oh, oui, je t'aime.
Oh, give over. Not again. Do you know what time it is? It's 3:30.
So for people who don't know, this is
Now, look,
Lurkio
stop
from
that.
Up Pompeii.
That's got
Yes.
into you.
Yes.
It's not Friday, is it?
Oh, chérie.
Oh, look, cut that out. Pull yourself together, woman. Look, control yourself.
Now, it just goes on like that for longer than...
Such a face. Now then, no.
All those guys who didn't want to make love to their wives. There was George from George and Mildred, never up for it. And then that guy.
Yeah, well, I think that guy, because he was a raging homosexual.
There it is.
I think that might be it. No. Yes. Now then, stop. No. Yes.
Well, it's an interesting combination. It's all the oohs, but then it's check that bird, check those knockers.
Yes.
It's an odd. It's like Mr. Humphreys kind of checking out a woman's ass. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, but apparently with Frankie Howard, he used to, when he did his stand-up, he would be, now, you see, now listen, no, stop, now, ooh. And the writers used to have to write in, young writers would go to him and would write in the oohs and the ahs and the no's and the misses.
Really?
And he would say, oh no, I put those in. And then if they didn't, he would send them back and say, put the oohs and the ahs in. You know? He was like this real cantankerous old man. You know? But, yeah.
What a taskmaster, a hard
that's brilliant.
taskmaster.
I wish I had a copy of it, and sadly, it's one of those things where it'll never get heard on the Triple M airways. But do you remember Jack Douglas?
Who was Jack Douglas?
Jack Douglas was the guy from the Carry On films who had a sort of a Tourette's. He was like a...
He was very much sort of second 11 Carry On.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
he always played the farmer, and it was the kind of the... And he did a mate of mine played a song, which is, I wish I had a copy of it, but it's the, it was Up the Swanee River, sung, and it's now Up the Swanee River.
I don't know how that would test with the Triple M audience. Obviously, we could try.
A Fallout Boy did a cover of it. It might go okay.
Wouldn't that be great? Now, there's something I'd like to see Anthony Clear cover. Wouldn't that be great? In the full Up the Swanee River.
There aren't enough musical stylings on the Idol.
And his hat would fly off. He was like, what? You see, that's quite... Stanley Unwin as well. Did you...
Stanley, I know that name. Who is Stanley Unwin?
Stanley Unwin. And he actually had a dance remix with a band called Wubble You. And Stanley Unwin was the guy that used to... He had his own language. Blibliop-loob. Ziblioob, blibliop-loob. You know,
Yeah.
Fiblom is a flimblom, and that was his act.
Does that mean anything?
Professor somebody? Did he?
Professor Stanley Unwin.
That's right,
Yeah.
Well, have we got any Stanley Unwin coming up? you talk about people having to put all the no's into Frankie Howard.
Yeah.
I often wonder whether people put all the yes into John Howard's speech because you're
absolutely.
coming back now right in the middle of an election campaign. I don't know if you're aware of that, Ross.
Oh yeah. Ding. Ding. Sorry, right? But do the politicians in this country think you're idiots?
I'm a bloke. This is a ute. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
What? Are we supposed to fall for that? I'm a woman and I'm in a house. No, thank you, Mr. Howard. What? It's a house and a woman.
I'm a bloke. That's a ute.
He's just like me.
Yeah.
I
No,
think like he does.
No, thank you, Mr. Howard. That's me ute.
But did you know that they've busted that guy? He's apparently this tradie kind of Aussie bloke.
He's a
But
Robbie Williams
He's
impersonator.
a full-time Robbie Williams impersonator in real life. Full-time.
Yeah, and when he was asked what he wanted to do, he just wants to rock. DJ. Can I just mention something?
Yeah, please
right?
do,
And you were
Ross.
saying, I have just got back into the country and, in the middle of the election thing. And this, I think, demonstrates what a magnificently optimistic country this is, right? Since arriving, right, I've seen not one, but two men trying to get, those full-size giant plastic water tanks.
Yes.
The enormous water tanks.
Yes.
I've seen two men at separate times, right, trying to get those on the back of a regular trailer. Not like a giant trailer that you get a car. We're talking like something that would be, you'd think, I might put a couch on there, but it's probably pushing it. Huge, great big things. And that's what I love about this country. In the UK, people just go, nah, it's not going to happen.
Really?
Here, blokes just stuff it. It's going on.
And how are they trying to fasten them on?
I don't even think they offer
Gravity?
I think,
Hoping for gravity to take care of that.
balance and just
A giant water tank on a single skateboard, a couple of hockey straps. That should do. That should be
it's
right.
And that to me, so just shows what an optimistic. Never mind all these blokes next to utes going, no thanks, Mr. Howard. I think you should have just said, right, which of the many politicians would attempt that? Anyone that can get the water tank, give him it. Don't even have a vote.
Well, see, this is a good Ask Ross Noble. Ross, what do you think is the primary difference between your English voter and your Australian voter in attitude?
Well, the main thing is the fact that you legally have to vote.
Oh, okay.
Whereas in the UK, nobody does.
Is that right? The
Doesn't-
same in the States?
It's all decided by one bloke in the Loughborough area. Yeah. The level of the fact that you've at least got around to going, right, you have to make a decision. In the UK, if you I don't want to sign. Don't want to sign. There's no point. Nothing's going to change. I'm not going to bother.
That's right. There was a Four Quarters a couple of weeks ago, and it was full of voters, and it was like, what exactly are you going to be voting for? Oh, haven't really thought about it yet. I might wait till the day before. What's going to be the big issue? Oh, probably taxes. Probably. And it's when you need that chaser stamp, that one that goes.
This person votes.
That's when you need a bit of that.
I just couldn't believe. I saw Rudd the other night on Rove there.
Yeah.
The fact that here's a man, right? He wants to run the country, and his imagination stretched to who would you turn gay for? And his own wife, and that's the limit. That's his imagination. Is that a good thing or is it a bad? Do you want somebody? Because do you want somebody who has no imagination whatsoever, so they can think about facts and figures, they can think about political things, they can think about the stuff that matters, or do you want somebody that's got an imagination who's staring out the window, going, "Oh, I wonder if we could plant some odd plants on the top of Parliament House or something."
I wonder if I could get that water tank on that trailer of mine.
Exactly. But that's the thing. So the man's clearly got no imagination, right? Or he's spineless and he doesn't want to in any way, mention the fact that he possibly in his wildest dreams could be gay, in which case he shouldn't be Prime Minister.
Because his original answer they cut out. They said, who would you turn gay for? He said, a gay French ghost that's haunting an apartment.
Yeah, that's enough about Poltergays.
Well, is it though?
It's an actual movie.
But that's the point, isn't it? Is what do we want? Do you want it? Do you want a man with imagination, or do you want somebody that's got no imagination whatsoever? I'm sure if you showed him one of those Rorschach,
ink blot tests.
you showed him there. It's just an ink blot. It's a bit of blackness on a white piece of paper.
Somebody spilled something black onto a white piece of paper in that one.
You're not getting it, are you? You've got no imagination, Or he's scared to say the word black in case, oh no, people might think he's idiot. He's an idiot. I hope that hasn't swayed anyone's vote.
Well,
No, it's too late for that. Mr. Cavalier, it's your last chance. Ask Ross
I got to
Noble.
let the listeners get on board, Tony.
You really think it's the
this
listeners?
is
Well,
the
let's
time.
just check.
Actually, no.
Yeah,
I've got a
see?
question for
See,
you.
there's always more.
Noble, is it true that you've been playing the same venues as Steven Seagal's Thunderbox?
Yes, that's true.
That is true.
So you've been touring around England just after Seagal and his posse have left town with his band Thunderbox.
Yes, I turned up. There was because I'll tell you how I found out about this. I was in the backstage at this theatre, and I was looking at, and they had a big wall chart so the crew could see. And I thought, I'll see what's on. And I looked down, and it didn't say Seagal. It literally, and it was like Cats was on there, and then there was like a week of like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or whatever. The Phantom of the Opera, and then there was sort of a few one night as Leslie Garrett and the like, and then it's me, and then in between me and Garrett, Thunderbox. And when you sort of fly backwards as if attached to a harness and a wire, you've been shot through it. And I went, woo! Jack Douglas style. I went, oh, no. And I flew backwards, and I turned to one of the stage hands and I just went, Thunderbox, what? As in Steven Seagal's band? And he went, how do you know that that's Steven Seagal? I went, oh, I know, my friend, I know. And he said, oh, yeah, we had Seagal in. And so obviously the first thing that happened, every single member of the staff of the theatre was dispatched to find a poster.
Absolutely right.
I was going, I don't care where you get it from, go into the archives, get them. Turns out they'd either been vandalised or had been stolen.
Vandalised.
Because they're actually, it's worth more than currency, those posters.
Right.
And apparently, turns out Mr. Seagal is less than affable.
Oh, you're
that's the
joking.
weirdest thing.
They do say the worst ever host of Saturday Night Live. Apparently, that's the one episode that they will never repeat.
Oh, really?
The most troublesome host
Well,
ever.
apparently you weren't allowed to look him in the eye. You weren't allowed to go near him. I don't know whether that's just because he'll kick your ass.
Could be
you
marked
sort of-
for death.
You look at him wrong, and it was very difficult as well getting him to the stage, because of the shadows. He had to, they had to just
It takes hours.
He actually
To wait till there's an eclipse.
He had to get Cliff Richard's band, The Shadows, to tour with him at all times, just behind. But yeah, he was not a pleasant gentleman.
Well, we are with Ross Noble, following in the footsteps, literally, of Steven Seagal, and it's your chance to ask him a question.
Hi, Jill.
Ross, you were on the radio one day and you were trying to buy an elephant from the circus.
Yes, that's right.
I want to know how you went.
I didn't.
It's with Hamill and Andy, I think.
Yeah, it was. I didn't get the elephant in the end. The circus, apparently, there's one circus in the whole of Australia that still has elephants, but they're retired apparently.
Okay.
So they're a little bit,
They're out playing golf.
yeah.
And why did you want an elephant?
Well, because we was driving past the circus, and there was an elephant outside, and it looked like it didn't need that much room. And then the house that we've got here, quite a big garden / land.
It's elephant compatible.
Yeah, and I thought, hang on a second. If an elephant can survive in that size paddock,
Ah,
surely the paddock out the back of ours could sustain an elephant. And so I thought, even if I just hired it for the day, and then it was Hamish and Andy upstairs in this very building. And I just happened to mention it to Hamish just in a passing context. Next thing you know, I'm on the radio asking for an elephant.
Asking for an elephant. What are the laws with it? Because I know you've told us you can't dress a monkey in clothes anymore.
That's right. Yeah, that's all off.
Giant pair of pants on an elephant. Is that allowed? Do we know?
Well, the elephants, they used to sometimes wear a tie.
I was just about to say, it's more formal wear with an elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more sort of cuffs and...
Or that sort of...
the headdress.
the headdress thing that comes down.
I think you're allowed to paint them as much as you want.
Is
Can you
this...
paint an elephant?
You can paint you can paint a mural on the side of them if you want.
I've just been told our caller has gone. I think
Sorry.
completely confused.
Vandalise it. Never mind stealing an animal from the zoo. Vandalise an elephant while still in the zoo.
Well, there you go.
Here's the thing. My mate tried to steal a mate of mine tried to steal a squid from a sea life centre.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How?
And-
What was his
this was-
technique?
Plastic bag. Carrier bag. And he was going to
Quite a big one,
He's going
surely.
to scoop it up,
Yeah.
and he was going to walk out with this like a little squid, just like. And I saw him the next day, and he had a tank in the side. He had a tank in the side of his flat. I think he lived in a council flat. He had this little tank in the side of it, all ready, filled up, ready for the master cry. And the next day I saw him, and I said, "Did you get that squid?" And he looked all sad. And he went, "No." I said, "What happened?" And he went, "Handles burst on the carrier." He hadn't, you know, when you got heavy shopping and it stretches.
Weight testers.
You know.
All right, we
yeah.
can't condone the stealing of squids on this program. Who is next with a question?
Hi, Josh.
Last year at the comedy festival, some of the audience members left a CD between two pieces of bread up on the stage. I was wondering if you kept that CD, Ross.
Yes, I've put it into my wheat-based musical collection.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I have a CD player that is also a George Foreman grill. So if I want to listen to music and also enjoy a toasty,
Have you ever
chuck it in there.
tried the George Formby grill? I'm
they're
not sure.
great. Yeah.
Not sure what it would be.
Yeah, where you put a sandwich in there, it's turned out nice again. Keep more there.
All right.
Yeah, look
Time
at that.
Cop, how are we going?
Anyone?
Maybe one more.
You know,
Okay.
I've seen the film Time Cop 4 times.
Have you?
Not only that, at the cinema.
At the cinema?
At the cinema.
What happened?
What?
Well, I went and saw it on my own because I was. No, I went and saw it. Yeah, I went and saw it on my own, and then the next day, some mates of mine went, "We're going to the cinema." I went, "Brilliant! What we seeing? Time Cop."
Okay, that's acceptable too.
I can't. And then I went on a date, and I said,
Time Cop.
What do you want to see?" She said, "Time Cop." You know. And then the fourth, I can't remember.
Just to see if it was as good as you remember.
I think it was probably on some late night show. But 4 times I've seen Time Cop at the and you know when you come out and you discuss a film afterwards,
Yes.
you know, I was going, well, you know that bit where we didn't notice that. How did you notice that? Because I was looking, I was looking beyond the acting.
Well, we have our own time cop. And listen, can I hear it? Yes, there's our end theme. We've run over. Do you have a key phrase, Mr. Marsland?
Want something just to amuse Ross?
Why not?
I'm free.
Get this, the final show. 3 big podcasts coming soon to Triple M.